Paris, France, January 15, 1955. Café Le Bastille, 2:45 p.m. Samuel Goldstein arrived 15 minutes early. He chose a corner table where he could see the door. His hands tremble as he stirs the coffee he can't drink. In a few minutes, he will meet the niece he waited 12 years for and searched for tirelessly for almost a decade. The girl he found but who became someone else, Rebecca, who is now Marie. The last living connection to his brother Jacob. This is the fifth story of The Last Train Home. The story of a meeting that isn't about finding the past, but about discovering how multiple truths can coexist. How one person can be two at the same time. How love doesn't need to be divided to be shared. And everything was about to begin when the cafe door opened. 2:52 p.m. The cafe door opens. Marie enters first, followed by Pierre and Claire. Samuel recognizes her immediately, not by physical features which were changed so long ago, but by the way she walks. There's something in her posture, in her movement that echoes Jacob. Marie sweeps her eyes across the cafe until she finds Samuel. She knows who he is instantly. The only man alone, older, looking at the door as if his life depended on it. For a long moment, they just look at each other. Samuel sees Rebecca in Marie's eyes, the same intense curiosity, the same way of tilting her head slightly. Marie sees in Samuel something familiar she can't name, a connection that exists beyond memory. Samuel stands slowly, as if any sudden movement might break the moment. "Marie." "Monsieur Goldstein," she responds, her voice trembling slightly. "Please call me Samuel." Pierre and Claire stand slightly behind Marie, protective but respectful. Samuel notices them, and something passes through his eyes, gratitude mixed with a hint of pain. These are the people who saved Rebecca, but also the people who transformed her into someone he doesn't completely recognize. "You must be Pierre and Claire Dubois," Samuel says, extending his hand. I looked for you for years, and when I finally found you, I realized you had done something I couldn't. You kept her alive and happy." Pierre shakes Samuel's hand firmly. "We did what any decent person would do." "No," Samuel shakes his head. "You did much more than that." Marie between Pierre and Claire, Samuel across the table. It's clear emotional geography. Marie in the middle, literally between two families. The silence that follows is heavy. No one knows how to begin this impossible conversation. How do you talk about a life that was erased and rebuilt? How do you introduce someone to themselves? It's Marie who finally breaks the silence. "Samuel, in your letter you mentioned my father, Jacob. Can you tell me about him?" Samuel closes his eyes for a moment, gathering memories from over 20 years ago. "Jacob was 2 years older than me. He was always the talented one in the family. He'd pick up the violin and it seemed the instrument came alive in his hands." Marie leans forward, thirsty for details about a man who should be her father, but is just a story. What was his voice like? Warm. He had this laugh that came from deep in his chest. And when he talked about music, Samuel smiles at the memory. His eyes would shine as if he was seeing something magical that no one else could see. "You look like him," Samuel says suddenly. "Not physically. Your features are more Miriam's, but the way you tilt your head when you're thinking, how your fingers drum on the table when you're concentrating, that's Jacob." Marie looks at her own hands, seeing them differently. "I do that?" "I just did," Samuel points out gently. 3 times since we sat down. Claire watches the interaction with mixed emotions. She's seeing Marie discover connections with people she never knew, and there's something simultaneously beautiful and painful about it. "Samuel," Claire intervenes gently. "Marie, she doesn't remember anything. We tried to help her remember when she was little, but the memories simply aren't there." "I know," Samuel responds, "and maybe that's better. The last memories Rebecca would have are the worst possible ones." Over the next hour, Samuel tells stories. He talks about the Goldstein family's life in Berlin before the escape, about the first years in Paris, about the music that was always present in their home. "Miriam taught piano," Samuel recounts. "She was patient, kind. She had this special method of teaching. She'd say each child had their own inner music, and the teacher's role was to help them find the right keys. Marie feels something stir inside her, not exactly a memory, but a familiar sensation. "Cyrus, when I play piano, sometimes I feel like my fingers know where to go before I even think about it." "That's Miriam in you," Samuel says with emotion. She had the same thing. She'd say music didn't come from the mind, but from somewhere deeper. Pierre watches Samuel talk about music and sees impossible parallels. Marie grew up loving piano, had exceptional talent, played by ear, exactly like her biological parents. The music was in her blood, Pierre murmurs, more to himself than to others. Samuel pulls something from his pocket, a yellowed, worn photograph, the same one he's carried for over a decade. This was taken in Paris, 1937. Miriam was pregnant with Rebecca. Jacob had just gotten a job playing at an important café. They were happy. Marie takes the photograph with trembling hands. She studies the faces of people who should mean everything to her, but who are just strangers in an old image. Rachel looked like Jacob, Samuel continues, pointing to the older sister in another photo. Dark hair, expressive eyes. She was serious for her age, always taking care of you like a little mother. "How was she?" "With me?" Marie asks hesitantly, protective. "When you were a baby, Rachel wouldn't let anyone hold you without supervision. She'd say it was her responsibility to take care of her little sister." Marie feels a strange pain in her chest, not longing for something she remembers, but grief for something she never knew she lost. "And she... what happened to her?" Samuel shakes his head slowly. "We don't know for certain. The night Jacob and Miriam were taken, Rachel was with them. After that silence, I looked for her too all these years, but never found a trace. So she might be alive. It's possible. But after so much time without news..." Samuel doesn't need to finish the sentence. Claire, who had been relatively quiet, finally speaks. "Samuel, the night we found Marie, Rebecca, she was hidden in a wardrobe, completely alone. Do you know what happened exactly?" Samuel takes a deep breath. "I only know what I could reconstruct through documents and testimonies. On March 15, 1943, there was a raid at Pension Moreau. Jacob and Miriam tried to protect their daughters, but were captured. Somehow Rebecca managed to hide. And Jacob and Miriam?" Marie asks, though she already knows the answer deep in her heart. "They were taken to Drancy, the transit camp near Paris. From there, to Auschwitz. Neither survived. The word Auschwitz hangs in the air like a toxic cloud. Marie knew her biological parents had died, but hearing the name of the place, knowing the specific fate, makes it all terribly real." Marie stands abruptly. "I need air." She leaves the cafe quickly and Claire immediately stands to follow her. Pierre and Samuel are alone for the first time. The silence between them is heavy. Two men who love the same person in completely different ways, united by circumstances neither chose. "She wasn't prepared to hear about Auschwitz," Pierre says finally. "No one ever is," Samuel responds. "But she needed to know. She has the right to know the complete history of her family." "Her family?" Pierre repeats, and there's a sharp edge in his voice. "Or our family." Samuel looks directly at Pierre. "Both, and I think you know that." Pierre runs his hands over his face, tired. "For almost 12 years, Samuel, she was our daughter. Ours. We saw her take her first steps after the transformation, heard her first words as Marie, healed her nightmares, taught her to laugh again. And now she discovers she had another family before," Samuel completes. "I know it's painful, Pierre, but that doesn't erase what you built with her, doesn't it? Because it seems like every story you tell, every memory you share, is one more piece of Rebecca coming back, and Marie disappearing." "Marie won't disappear," Samuel says firmly. "Marie is who Rebecca became. They're the same person, just more complete now." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I spent almost a decade looking for Rebecca, and when I found her I realized something. She survived by becoming Marie, and that transformation wasn't a tragedy. It was an act of love you did for her." Pierre looks at Samuel with surprise. "You really believe that?" "I do. Jacob and Miriam would have given their lives to keep her safe and happy. You did that for her. In a way, you completed what they started." Pierre feels tears in his eyes. "But what about you?" Don't you feel anger at us for transforming her into someone different? I did, Samuel admits. For a long time I did. But then I realized you didn't transform her into someone different. You saved her and let her be who she needed to be to survive. Outside the cafe, Marie is leaning against the wall, trying to breathe. Claire is beside her, not speaking, just present. Auschwitz, Marie finally says. I heard about it in school, about what happened there. And knowing that my parents, that Jacob and Miriam... Marie, you don't have to carry this weight alone, Claire says gently. But I must, right? I'm the only one who survived. The only one who can honor their memory. You honor their memory by being happy, Claire responds. By being the incredible person you are. Your musical talent, your curiosity, your kindness, all of that came from them. And it also came from you, from the way you chose to live your life. Marie looks at Claire with tear-filled eyes. Maman, I'm afraid that knowing Samuel, learning about Rebecca, means I have to choose. That I have to decide if I'm Marie or Rebecca. You don't have to choose, ma chérie. You're both, and anyone who truly loves you understands that. If you're enjoying this video, please click the like button so YouTube can share it with more people. And if you enjoy this type of video, please subscribe to our channel. When Marie and Claire return to the cafe, they find Pierre and Samuel talking, not as adversaries, but as allies. Marie sits again, more composed now. Samuel, I'm sorry. I just needed a moment. You don't need to apologize, Samuel says gently. What you're processing is immense. And I don't expect you to absorb everything at once. I want to do something, Samuel says, pulling a small notebook from his coat. During all these years searching for you, I wrote everything I could remember about Jacob, Miriam, and Rachel. Stories, small details, memories. I thought that one day, maybe you'd want to know them. He pushes the notebook across the table. This is yours, Marie, to read when you're ready. There's no rush. Marie takes the notebook as if it was something precious. You did this. For me, for Rebecca, for Marie, for you, whoever you choose to be. Marie opens the notebook to the first page and sees Samuel's handwriting, careful, detailed. The first chapter is called Jacob and the Violin. Can I read a bit now? She asks. Of course. Marie reads aloud. Jacob was 7 years old when he picked up a violin for the first time. Our father was a merchant, not a musician, and didn't understand where Jacob's talent came from. But the first time Jacob played, even though out of tune, even though clumsy, everyone in the family knew there was something special in him. As Marie reads, something remarkable happens. Pierre, Claire, and Samuel begin to share stories too. They're no longer competing. They're collaborating to give Marie a complete picture of who she is. You have the same talent as Jacob, Pierre says. When you were 7, you went to the church piano and played a melody you'd never heard before. Father Moreau said it was a miracle. Miriam also played by ear, Samuel adds. She'd say music didn't need paper, it lived in the heart. Marie looks between the 3 adults. So I inherited this from them, from Jacob and Miriam. Yes, Samuel confirms. But Pierre and Claire nurtured that gift. They gave you the space and love to develop something that was in your blood. Claire is surprised by Samuel's words. You really don't blame us? Blame you for what? For saving my niece's life? For giving her a happy childhood when everything was taken from her? For loving her when I wasn't there to do it? Samuel leans forward, looking directly at Pierre and Claire. You did what Jacob and Miriam would have begged someone to do. Protect her, love her, let her live. If they could speak now, they would say only one thing. Thank you. Marie feels something dissolve inside her, the fear she'd carried since discovering the truth. The fear that loving Samuel meant betraying Pierre and Claire, or that honoring Jacob and Miriam meant rejecting the parents who raised her. So, all of you can coexist in my life, she asks, almost not believing the possibility. We can, Samuel says. We must, Pierre adds. We want to, Claire completes. Marie begins to cry, not from sadness, but from relief. I thought I'd have to choose. I thought discovering Rebecca meant losing Marie, or that being Marie meant betraying Rebecca. You never had to choose, Samuel says gently. Rebecca and Marie are the same person at different moments of the same journey. And all the people who love you, past and present, are part of that journey too. Hours pass in the cafe. The waiter has refilled the coffee 3 times, but no one notices. They're too busy building bridges between past and present. Samuel tells stories of Jacob and Miriam. Pierre and Claire share memories of Marie growing up. And gradually a complete narrative emerges. The story of Rebecca Goldstein, who became Marie Dubois, and how both identities are true and valuable. "There's something I need to know," Marie says. "Samuel, when you found me, in 1952, when you discovered I was Rebecca, why didn't you tell me immediately?" Samuel sighs. "Because I saw you were happy, completely, genuinely happy. And I realized that telling the truth at that moment could destroy that. So I made an agreement with Pierre. I'd wait until you were ready to know. But what if I was never ready? What if I never discovered? Then I would have lived knowing you were well. And sometimes, Marie, knowing that someone we love is well is enough." Marie turns to Pierre. "And you, Papa? Was it hard to keep this secret after Samuel discovered?" "It was the hardest thing I've ever done," Pierre admits. "Every day you woke up, happy and unaware, and I carried the weight of knowing that one day this would change. But also, there was also relief. Because if Samuel found you, it meant at least one person from your biological family had survived. You weren't completely alone in the world." "I was never alone," Marie says, looking around the table. "I always had you. All of you, even when I didn't know." Claire pulls something from her purse, the wooden box with Rebecca's belongings. "Marie, there's something here you haven't fully seen yet." She takes out the Star of David and places it on the table. "This star belonged to your grandmother, Leah. It went from her to Miriam and from Miriam to you. It's your family heritage." Marie picks up the star with reverence. "Samuel, can you tell me about grandmother Leah?" Samuel smiles at the memory. "Leah was strong. She survived so many difficult things in life, but never lost faith. This star, she said, it was protected by generations of prayers. And now it's with you, but I'm not." "I wasn't raised Jewish," Marie says hesitantly. "I don't know the prayers, don't know the traditions." "You don't need to know all that to honor where you came from," Samuel responds. "Heritage isn't just about religion or tradition. It's about knowing your roots, understanding where you come from. And now you know." Marie looks at the star, then at Samuel's notebook, then at the faces of Pierre, Claire, and Samuel. "So, what happens now? How do we make this work?" "One day at a time," Samuel suggests. "You continue your life, your studies at the Sorbonne. But now you know your complete story. And if you want, we can meet sometimes. I can tell more stories, you can ask questions. And we remain your family," Claire adds. "That never changes. And maybe," Pierre says, looking at Samuel, "we all learn to be a family and extended. Different, but together." Samuel extends his hand across the table to Pierre. "I would like that." Pierre shakes his hand firmly. "It's not just a handshake, it's a pact. An agreement that the love for Marie is big enough for everyone to share." "Uncle Samuel," Marie says experimentally, testing the words. Can I call you that?" Samuel smiles through tears. "I would love that." When they leave the cafe, it's already night. Paris is lit up, and the group of 4 walks together through the streets. Marie between Pierre and Claire, Samuel alongside. They stop in front of the train station where Marie and the Dubois will take the train back to Beaumont-sur-Loire. "It's not goodbye," Samuel says. "It's see you later." Marie hugs Samuel, the first hug between them. Before separating, she whispers 2 names. "One life," Samuel smiles through tears. "Rebecca," he whispers, and it's the first time he calls her by that name since they met. "Marie," he corrects. "Thank you for finding me back." Marie boards the train with Pierre and Claire. As the train pulls away from the station, she waves to Samuel, who stands on the platform. She holds his notebook in one hand and the Star of David in the other, symbols of 2 heritages she now knows belong to her. "Are you okay?" Pierre asks. "Yes," Marie responds. And for the first time since discovering the truth, she really is. This was the 5th story of The Last Train Home. The story of how some reunions aren't about recovering what was lost, but about discovering that love can multiply instead of divide. About how identity isn't a choice between who you were and who you became, but the acceptance that you are both. In the next video, we'll discover how Marie, now knowing her complete story, chooses to live her life. How Rebecca and Marie finally become one person, and how an entire town learns that family isn't defined by blood or documents, but by the love we choose to share. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and share our video to help us spread our stories.